What is up, my fearless networking friends? Todd Falcone here. Okay, so social media engagement. I'm going to give it to you simple, quick. It's going to be this is going to be a short episode, but obviously you're probably utilizing social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is. I'm going to give you 3 very simple things that you can do to make sure that you're improving, that you're increasing your social media engagement. Number 1, okay? This should go without saying, but number 1 is you have to be consistent. If you're not consistently putting stuff out on, let's say, your Facebook page, if it's once a week, once a month, your engagement is going to go down. That's number 1. You got to be consistent. What is consistent? I would say something that you're doing at least once a day. That would be number 1, is that I'm showing up, I'm doing something every single day. If you're sporadic, if you're consistent for a little bit, and then you take 3 weeks off, and then you come back on, your engagement's going to go down. So if you want to have better social media engagement, number 1 is you need to be consistent. Number 2, okay? Number 2, it should be interesting. So I don't typically post anything without me first thinking, is my audience going to find this interesting? Is this going to entertain? Is this going to create a laugh? Is this going to be thought-provoking? Is this going to do something, or is it just blah? And look, I've done posts where I'll put it up, and for me personally, if I put up a post and like 30 minutes later, there's crickets, I'll delete the post. Like, I know my audience enough to know if I put something up and 30 minutes later, there's still like virtually no engagement off of it, I'll get rid of it, because it's not just, clearly I can tell it's not an engaging post. I'll put posts up, and within seconds, it's like bam, 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 likes, comments, likes, comments, likes. So then I'm like, okay, then I know that there was something interesting, engaging about that particular post. By the way, when you do posts like that, to have better posts in the future, when you do something and you get a lot of engagement off of it, likes, comments, and shares, you might want to look at the post, your own post, and go, okay, wow, what was it about that post that caused so many people to interact with it? How can I do a post that's similar to that in the future to create even more engagement? So that's another thing that you can do. You can also, by the way, look at other people's posts, and I do this regularly. I'll go through my newsfeed and I'll look at other people's posts, and I'll look at somebody's post. I'm like, wow, look at how many likes, comments, or shares that had. And then I'm going to go, what can I take from that, and how can I replicate that on my own wall without necessarily copying their exact post? But how can I take the idea or the concept and be able to use that on my own wall? I would go so far as to say, for you guys, if you really want to get more engagement from your social media, is pull out a journal and keep a journal of types of posts or specific posts that have worked well for you, so that you can replicate that in the future. And number 3 is this. Number 3 is, I want to make sure that if I'm doing a social media post, that sometimes I actually ask for engagement. Asking questions almost guarantees engagement. So this is not something I do on every post, but if you, like, for example, I've done posts like, hey, I'm looking, this isn't exactly what it said, but hey, I do a lot of travel. Ideally, I want to eat at I want to eat food at the coolest places on the planet. Where's the most amazing, cool dining experience that you've had? Whether it's out of a shack or a 5-star restaurant, or out of a food truck or whatever. And it gave me a huge list of people like, oh, I ate at this place over in Greece, and this truck in the alley, it's called blah blah blah, or I did this. And I was literally asking for engagement. The crazy thing about like Facebook particularly is you can, if I need an answer to something, I just go ask. So the whole idea here in terms of getting more engagement is actually, I'm asking for responses. I'm not saying I need your engagement, but what is a response? A response or an answer is technically engagement. So there's a lot of things that that I've asked for on social media. Hey, where's the, if you were going to travel anywhere on the planet, where would you travel? Hey, I'm thinking about going vegan. Any vegan people in here that have, that are former meat eaters? What's your experience been like? So you're literally asking for people to interact and engage with you. So I pretty regularly do those kinds of posts. And it's pretty cool because especially if it's something that you legitimately want answers to, you'll get the answers. I mean, like I've got a pretty big following on Facebook through my personal page. So I'm reaching out to a lot of people when I'm out there, when I ask a question, and it's pretty awesome. I've gone and stayed at hotels or visited specific places or eaten at different restaurants or had different experiences because I learned about it through asking a question on social media. So, I mean, this is like, I want to keep this simple for you guys, right? So you want to, and I don't think that having like lots of engagement on social media needs to be some, I don't know, difficult thing to understand. It's like, I don't know, what turns you on when you are going through your news feed? That would be a good thing. Like if you want more engagement, why did you respond to that? Why did you like it or, pound the hearts on it? Or why did you comment on it? Why did you share it? Right? So again, if you're doing business on social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or whatever it is, you don't want to have crickets chirping on your social media page. If you look at somebody else's page and you're like, wow, they've got a whole bunch of followers and they got like 2 likes. Well, what was it about that post where they had such, you want to be able to look at it. So you can do a lot of improving on your social media engagement by doing, number one, obviously I talked about being consistent, being interesting, doing something that's interesting, entertaining. So it's like, think before you post, by, asking for participation, asking questions, asking for involvement, but also there can be a lot that can be learned for free by just observing and looking around. That to me is like, if you didn't want to go spend $5,000 or $2,000 or $1,000 on some social media course, just go look around at other people's stuff and go, okay. And then this is the important thing is I journal it. Like I'm like, okay, this is the kind of post. I mean, shoot, I did a post a few years ago, and I know it wouldn't have the same kind of reaction today, but I literally did a post, I don't know how many years, this is probably 8 years ago. It just said bacon, period. I'm like, I don't know, bacon, period. I had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments because I put the word bacon. No color background, no picture of a piece of bacon, just bacon. Now, I mean, again, this is probably 8, 10 years ago, and if I put the word bacon again, I'm sure I wouldn't get nearly the kind of response that I got the first time, but I mean, you never know what's going to happen. So you look around, and the last thing I'll say is don't take somebody's idea, but don't go, oh, I'm gonna write about it. Here I go. I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna take their word for word, and I'm gonna take their post, and I'm gonna take their post, and I'm gonna word for word take their. If you take one of my posts, or you take somebody else's post, give them credit for it. I'll tag you in the post. Hey, thanks for the inspiration, Joan. And you're getting credit for it. This is, so that because it comes down to plagiarizing, right? If you end up taking somebody's stuff and, claiming it as your own when it's not your own. And I see this happen all the time. I mean, I don't know. I just think if it's your exact, like there are posts that I've come up with that I know I created on my own. Like this came out of my brain. I put the words together, and then I've seen people take the exact post and not even say, and it's not like I need the credit, but I just think it's polite to, if somebody gave you the inspiration, gave you the idea versus, oh, somebody did a post about this. Okay, well, I love the concept of that. I'm gonna jimmy it around and shift it a little bit, and I'm gonna make it my own. But it's really not the same exact post. It just conceptually the post. I got the concept or the idea, but then when I post it, it's totally different. I mean, it's concept is the same, but nobody would look at it and go, "That's the same post." So, but I think you can massively increase your engagement by first and foremost, number one, being super consistent. Number two, by thinking before you post. Number 3, by actually doing posts where you're asking for engagement, or you're asking for hey, I have a question that you ask, whatever. And then the last thing I guess I'll say is making sure that you look around and you learn from the experiences of other people, because that to me is like super easy to do. It doesn't cost you anything. You can just kind of bounce around and you can come up with great ideas. So anyhow, thanks for being here. If you're on my podcast, what's up, audio podcast people? If you're on my YouTube channel, how you guys doing? The rest of this episode is at toddfalcone.com/episode 135. Again, TODDFALCONE.com/episode 135. Love your comments, love your questions. If you want me to train on something specific or talk about something in particular, let me know. Be happy to do it. Have an amazing day. We'll see you next time.